Hello everybody, hope you're doing well and welcome to Monday's MCN. We've got a lot of things to go over. So we're going to jump straight into the action because there's a lot of things to go over. Some micro stories or micro things to inform you of if you didn't know already. Last night we had an issue, or yesterday we had an issue of minus revives in the revive store for raids, alliance raids, which is something we're going to talk about in the show in a bit more of a length because there's a bug. There's a lot of problems with alliance raids. It's not perfect, but of course this happened. It was fixed fairly promptly, so yeah, if you didn't know, that was a thing. Also, something else that's kind of about at the moment, which I'm sure Kabam will resolve in the coming week or 2 weeks, and that is that for some reason we have got a different type of language popping up at the end of the victory screen, which I think is more in an arena-based kind of like situation. Some people say this is Spanish. I don't know. I don't speak Spanish. It wasn't one of my languages I learnt when I was at school. It was French and German. Those are the only two. So, and I didn't really pay much attention in French. So, German was the way. So, auf Deutsch. And also for those curious, out of last week, Kabam Crash confirmed information about the loyalty changes, mainly for the top end of the alliances in top tiers that are missing out on using their loyalty for getting that lovely 7-star loyalty crystal. Kabam Crash said that you'll be able to access the crystal using loyalty. We'll be adding an additional acquisition method using shards or something like shards. I do not yet know if players will be able to acquire more total loyalty crystals or if both acquisition methods will use the same cooldown on the purchase. It's still something that's being kind of like thought up at Kabam. You'll also be able to trade the loyalty crystal shards for regular 7-star shards if you aren't interested in the loyalty crystal. The goal of the addition is to make the loyalty crystal an option for players who spend their loyalty on consumables, but not to limit choices if summoners would still prefer the base 7-star shards. And of course we have news regarding the loyalty crystal pool. We have no news about the loyalty crystal pool. It's not changing at this time, and I don't think that's Kabam said a while ago that it wasn't changing, but hopefully that clarifies some questions that maybe people have about that new scheme coming. Now, with micro stories aside, let's get into the full aspects of alliance raids. Of course, I put out a video on Saturday. Do bear in mind, I'm taking a bit of a chill time when it comes to content creation. There will still be content going out, but it's not a lot of stuff there's stuff that I want to do, but I need more time allocated to it. Why? Well, at the moment, I'm focusing on Necropolis. Necropolis is taking up my life. I'm at the moment run 4 in. On Tuesday, I'm going into run 5. At the weekend, I'm then going into run my final 6th run. And to be honest, it's laborious. It's just a nuisance, and the AI is terrible. Whatever Kabam did last week, it just making the experience just worse. But I'm just persevering, and I'm going to get it done, and I'm going to hopefully be valiant within a week. It's the plan. But enough about me, tiny violin. But more importantly about alliance raids. Of course, this is coming to an end, and this has been something of a bone of contention. It's going to be a bit of a talking point in this particular MCN today. But there's some interesting stuff. I think one thing that I went in to use Colossus because why? To test it out. Here's the thing, with a brand new mode, do you know what we got to do? We got to test things out, and not everything is going to work. Some things aren't going to work, like the mode. No, good idea, but of course, with most things, when you're putting something new in for the first time, and we are not in a beta, we're kind of the guinea pigs. So things are going to work and things are not going to work. But it's interesting to note what other players are using. So players have said, like some people are saying, that Titania for Vanguard. Some people disagree. It's interesting. Venom for Tactician absolutely dominates Maestro and Thanos. Hulkbuster for Assault. And what else? That's it. We can control the fight with SP1 stun to extend the defender to SP2. Maestro can control the opponent with power drain or power lock if needed. I think this is the thing, it's weird, isn't it? There's not one great answer for this because there's going to be multiple. People are going to have different things, different strokes for different folks. I'm loving Absorbing Man for Vanguard. I might do that. I'm pretty certain I'm on Vanguard. Sometimes, honestly, I'm too much a Necropolis brain at the moment. That's the problem. Too much Necropolis brain. I want to say that's it. Yeah, Vanguard. So yeah, I might even try that. That might be cool. Nick Fury for Assault. Some people disagree with that one. I suppose it depends on what type of buff you choose going into it, the eye is in the beholder. Some people saying that Spider-Man for Vanguard, but I don't know. I've seen other people saying no. So it's always very interesting, isn't it, to know what is working for other people. Slay, who is in my little group of people, is using Hulkling and using that incredibly effectively for Assault. So, you know, shout out to Slay. Slay's there slaying away at 23 mil. So, look, different things work differently, and as well as the 6-star versus 7-star versions of Iron Man from other people, because, you know, Iron Man is equally good as well. So I think there's a lot very good, and you learn along the way. And of course, for me, plans were to use Colossus in a certain way. To a degree, with Kang and Thanos, I was able to use him in the way that I was intending. But Maestro, not really kind of like where it's at with it. But sticking with raids, there's 2 more things to cover in this particular section. 1 bug and also 1 kind of like bits of feedback. I mean, the first bit of like feedback on the stuff is Kabam are listening, and they are going to be answering against a lot of the feedback. They've taken in a lot of information from players, and they will be looking to improve the mode. And of course, give you guys the information of that. Will it be this week? I don't know. But they've definitely said that they've had an internal meeting, and they're going to be sharing some details of against the feedback, and of course against all the stuff that's kind of not been too great. Because look, Maestro isn't that great of a fight, especially when it comes to certain nodes. And of course, like Kabam are kind of trying to create some kind of, I don't know, skill-based stumbling block that you can't get further without further. That was a terrible joke. Anyway, yeah, so Kabam are going to answer against these bits of feedback, because like Kang and Thanos are good bosses. They're fair, and I think that kind of plays into the mode as it is. But this Maestro one is just, it's just ass. It's really bad, and many people kind of like reach out there, and this is the problem, isn't it? When people kind of like, I apologize for noobness. Our alliance has made some really good progress against. But then it's like we're struggling to do as much damage to Maestro. Personally, I'm finding it taking a ton of block damage, and it's nice because at least kind of players are united on this particular thought process of saying like, same here. I think even someone says like, you're not alone, and of course trying to find the biggest way to kind of rotate around the champion is the main thing, and people are trying, like, you know, at the end of the day, people are trying to kind of like to get around it. If Maestro was your first kind of champion to go up against in raids, then you would have had the hard experience first, and then it should feel like it's getting easier after. The biggest problem is trying to do that extent of damage, which I'm trying to do now as Maestro being our last fight, to try and, well, you know, get past that, which is just not going to be possible. I don't think we're going to make it to the next chest cache in the allotted time. So look, it's a stumbling block for everybody. It's annoying, but hopefully Kabam, you know, can deal with it. And it was interesting as well to read out about another weird bug that Kabam have had. And look, the mode isn't perfect. You know, this is the problem, isn't it, with launching a mode. Kabam can have stuff that goes wrong. I think they had some stuff that went wrong in the CCP beta play of it recently. But so PookieMan messaged me, and he said that I was unable to move to the correct roll path in Alliance raids. For some reason in Maestro section, game doesn't let me go left path, but only through the middle. Attached to answer that Kabam Sport. So Kabam Sport, we made aware of a possible issue with being unable to move down the correct path at Alliance raids, and we're investigating any details to confirm the bug, yada yada yada. And I don't think this was resolved. I don't think it was like they're there and this was the only path that they could move down. I'm not 100% sure of the full ins and outs. Anyway, yeah, so I know I didn't go the wrong path from the start. I did left path. Game pushed me to the wrong path, to the middle, and luckily with back button, I'm back where I started, but still can't go left. So if I try to get pushed again, okay. So there's. This wasn't. I don't think. When was this? Kind of like January 16th. Still not answered. The game and the mode. I mean, like, the mode has got enough problems. The game, between AI being in such a bad place as it is at the moment, it's just, yeah. I don't know. I really don't know what's going on with stuff. hopefully when, and this is me going fingers crossed here, that when they do the second time, they may even go raids are going to be down for a month while we get it back to, or put it in a way that's going to be, you know, efficient, consistent. But we'll have to find out next week. Kabam need to answer against some of the issues and get this cycle out of the way before us finding out what's going on, because it ain't good, is it? And now let's move on to a really important story, voting fraud. What is this all about? Well, I think a lot of us feel that Blob is going to win the Summoner's Choice 2024. Do you think it is? But in any case, Blob is more than likely to win. Like, a lot of people are voting Blob. It seems to be more of a guaranteed thing. But it's the wild card. You know, saying voting fraud is a bit of a kind of a, a bit out there type thing. But there's something that's reared its head. And even Kabam are surprised by this when it comes to the wild card. So for those that don't know, the wildcard is based off of, if you go onto Twitter and you retweet the champion images, that particular winning retweeter, so if you know, Shriek has got the most retweets, so it's got like, you know, 400 retweets by the end, what is it, by a certain point, isn't it? Yeah, by a certain point, whatever point that is, I can't remember. It's like by 19th of January, just, not 19th, 26th of January. That particular champion or character, sorry, will be guaranteed a spot into the next round. So it means that there's, you know, there's a space, or they kind of leapfrog. But what if I told you that there are bot accounts retweeting the champions? So what am I talking about? Well, you can see right here, like there's a retweet number. So there's 68 currently for Swarm. There's 131 for Beetle. There's 272 for Shriek. There's 214 for Ruby Thursday. There's 232 for Viper. There's 93 for Shathra. There's 212 for Blob. And by the way, when I know a lot of people may go, like, oh, we're going to give more retweets to Blob. I don't know if it's advisable. Really, because this is all about, you know, the unlikely champion to kind of get through. And also there's 103 retweets for Black Tarantula. So where does this all this kind of like stuff come in? Because it's odd, isn't it? A lot of them seem to, like 93 for Shathra, Viper 232, 272 for Shriek. Is that right? Especially because it's going more than Blob. Is that right as well? Especially because the interaction is more people like Blob. Yeah, so there's more kind of like interaction. There's more engagement, I think is the term. But there's less engagement for Viper, who has less likes, to a load of retweets. And before anyone says, well, that seems all normal, doesn't it, Rich? Not necessarily. Especially because even Kabam are aware of this. So shout out to Slayer of Gods, who kind of like had a look. Say there's around 100 bot accounts just retweeted a vote for Viper. She's now at second place behind Shriek. So yeah, that was kind of like a bit of a surprise. I think more of a surprise because then Kabam Mike said we've always been on the lookout for bots in the wildcard, but have never had to deal with it until this time. We'll definitely account for them. So that's tough, isn't it? Because it's like if you think that one's going to win, it's less than likely. They probably won't. They probably won't win, but it's that's kind of scary, that, isn't it? The extent of kind of like what it could do. Could that have affected last year's and the year before? Maybe, maybe not. Like Bullseye eventually got into the game. Bullseye was a winning, if I remember rightly, a winning wild card. So look, weirder things have happened, stranger things have happened, but also scary things when it comes to like that this could kind of like do something with the vote. And of course, Kabam were able to check out whether or not there's any bot accounts. And we can get the full minutiae of the whether or not there's naughty people out there. And we'll always get the right champion, right character even, entering into the final ones. But what's everyone's thoughts on that? A bit scary. We end the show on a Monday with arena results for Bullseye and for Sorcerer Supreme. Thanks to everybody that submitted results, we can go over the following. So the Sorcerer Supreme arena, look, you only need to put in like a little bit of effort and you picked up the champion. Even 8 mil got the 5-star version of Sorcerer Supreme. Getting a 6-star, you know, 12 mil. Like you probably like 9-10 mil got a 6-star version of champion. Incredible. Bullseye, however, I did go with a prediction of 120 mil, which actually was on the nose. 120 mil got you position 385. And then the lowest score did have to put in 169 mil for that one. And of course, like there's some varying different scores. Thanks to everybody that submitted scores on the community tab, on Twitter, and the Discord. And of course, 24.7 mil got position 1% to 5%, getting a 5-star. So there's a lot of kind of interesting bits of data with that. And of course, you know, predictions for round 2 are, I'll go with 130 mil, bumping up my 120 mil prediction to 130. Bullseye's a 5-star. We'll go with 25 mil, as that seems to be what the case was. Maybe 27 mil to be safe. Sorcerer Supreme, 6-star, 12 mil. Again, same thing. It went rather low. It'll probably go low again. But this could be a really good opportunity to pick up a sneaky 6-star for a low amount of investment. And also a 5-star for 8 mil. So look at this as an opportunity. Go and get grinding. I wish you good luck in round 2. Thanks for watching the show today. Check out some other content located on screen. And I'll see you all very soon. Much love and goodbye.